Hi, everybody. Hello, friends and listeners, and namaste to all. You are listening to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal law that there's no such thing as coincidence or mistakes. And we are here to share our experience on that subject with you. I am Deb Miller.
Hi, I'm Susan Doyle. Hey Deb, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I am really good. I am really good. I have just a little quick uh thing to share with you. So last time we spoke, which was last week, I told you that I was doing this juice cleanse, and for no other reason, I need everybody to know, based on my disordered eating and exercise past, I don't ever weigh myself. And I just sort of go by how I physically feel. And obviously, there's days that you feel a little yucky. There's days that you maybe made the wrong food choices or haven't drank enough or something like that. But I decided this year, because we had been through a lot of family functions, I knew that I was just making some bad food choices, or more importantly, like food that I didn't make. So you can never kind of know like what's in it. You know what I mean? Even if you go out to dinner and you order a burger or chicken, you don't know what's kind of in it. And I try to eat organic and and kind of plain. And I know I had been consuming too much alcohol. So I decided, I've never, ever, ever done this before, but I wanted to do that juice cleanse, which I told you about last week. So I'm on day 3. I have 4 more bottles of juice to drink today. So firstly, I need you to know that I have never wanted food more in my entire life than I do now.
I can't
Just
help it.
drinking.
I can't believe that you're like smiling. You look amazing. Like I would be, I don't even know. I can't even believe what you look like right now and how well you're functioning on no
I
food.
am hungry, but I feel the thing that is getting me through is I feel freaking amazing. So I did it
Mhm.
for 3 days. You can do it for as long as you want or as short as you want. So my husband did it for 2 days. So after day 1, I was like, I could feel the difference. And basically what it does is it gives your digestive system a break. The stuff that you're drinking is all raw vegetables and fruit. There's nothing else in it. And it's spaced like every 2 to 3 hours to make sure your blood sugar stays steady. And let me tell you something, some of it is not tasty. Not
Really?
tasty.
Really?
There's
They
this
can't make
beet
it.
juice that's like tastes like you're literally eating dirt. But by day 3, you
Mm.
literally feel like you're eating a candy bar because you have not had any food. So yesterday it wasn't as bad. Today I'm thinking I'm gonna love it. But I feel amazing. I feel just like back to normal. I don't feel like as bogged down. I don't like the only way I could describe the way I was feeling was toxic. Like nobody
Mm.
could tell that I felt, like I was a little bloated and things
Mm.
like that. I just felt like my body was toxic, and I feel freaking amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Amazing.
Is this something that you go and purchase these bottles or do you make them yourself? Like, how do you find that?
I am lucky enough to live down the street from a juice bar
Okay.
and it's a place called My Main Squeeze. And they have two different detoxes or two different cleanses. One is kind of a detox, the other one is just sort of like a Kickstarter, more for, I don't even know if it's for weight loss. And there's really not a huge difference between the two of them. But I chose the detox one. And so I
Mm.
ordered it. And because they make it all fresh, it took a
Mm.
couple of days for them to do it. And then I went and picked up. So you get 16 ounces, 16-ounce juices
Okay.
for your day.
Oh, for the day, you have to drink 6 of those.
6. And so, I mean, it's crazy how much liquid you're
Yeah.
drinking.
Plus,
Um,
you have to drink water on top of that or just the
it
liquid?
tells you to drink water. I've been drinking like hot lemon water or hot decaf tea because it is so cold here in Massachusetts that I cannot drink um, water.
Yeah.
I actually have to leave the juices, like I will put the juices in like some hot water for a little bit because they're in the refrigerator and I just can't. I
Too
can't
cold.
suck it back because I'm so cold.
Mm.
Um, so yeah. So
What
I have 4 more bottles of juice to go and feel amazing, but I cannot wait to like
what's
chew.
the first thing you're gonna eat? Do you have it all
That
planned
is a
out?
very good question. That is a very good question. You know what I bought last night at the store is a big, thick, fluffy bagel. I think I'm gonna eat like a carb.
That doesn't surprise me because growing up, I swear all your mom ever fed us was bagels and a salad. You
Yeah,
always had bagels.
and not just want to know, not much has changed in my life, except I buy fresh bagels instead of frozen ones like my mother used to do.
Yeah. Well, I remember, yeah, I thought she bought them fresh and frozen, but I guess
Yes,
not. I
that's
guess,
what she did. Well, yeah,
yeah,
but
okay.
by the time you got to bagel 12 or 13, not so fresh feeling. So I feel, like we talked about last week, I am not a new year you person. I just wanted to create a reset for myself. So, how about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because, you kind of did a physical cleansing, which is amazing. And I'm kind of doing,
Lifted my brain fog too, I got to tell you.
all right,
Yes.
so you're making it seem like something I really want to do, but man, I don't
I
know.
was
So,
eating too much sugar and I was
I
drinking too
love
much
sugar.
alcohol. So I know that you don't drink alcohol, but if it's the sugar thing, it definitely, like, I am not craving a cookie. I just want to chew.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I too know that I need to do that because sugar is, it's a problem. I mean, it's a problem. Like when I go to a restaurant, I'm looking at the dessert menu first and telling everybody what I'm getting for dessert. I'm so excited for dessert. And so it's really ridiculous. Like I just recently found out at our grocery store here, Publix, you can get a Marie Callender's. You know how like she does the pot pie, chicken pot pies?
Yeah,
Same size, but an apple pie. Yeah. So
like a personal pie.
personal apple pie, and they're just
Nice.
fabulous. So I got one to see like would I like this or not.
Yeah, to just you had to test it out.
Yeah, I was like, well, so like sometimes they're not that great when they're frozen. It was amazing. I went back to the store, I got two more. I've been eating half for breakfast and half for dessert after my dinner at night. And that's not okay. Like so I know I have a sugar problem. I know I do. But that'll have to take the back seat. We're about to go on vacation, so I know I'm not going to be, and we're going to Italy, of course. So the pasta, I'm sure, and
Oh, the
I'm gonna
food.
like, so I'm giving myself permission to just, and maybe when I get back,
Yes.
I'll do juice cleanse.
But the
But
difference between that and giving yourself permission on like a vacation around here or around, in the States, I should say, is the food that you are going to eat will be daily fresh.
mm,
From what I hear, I've never been there, that they don't overserve you portions. It
mm,
is so fresh and so pure. There's no preservatives in it, there's no additives in it, there's nothing but what it's supposed to be.
yeah, that sounds awesome. I wish they would do
Yum.
that here.
I know. I
Conservatives here,
know.
food, it's just insane. It's
I
insane.
know.
But what I'm doing, so you're doing the physical and I'm doing the spiritual cleanse.
Nice. Tell me about it.
Well, it's been something that I've been working on for a while, as I discussed in a previous podcast about kind of when I put down on paper what it was that I wanted my life to look like. And one of them was to grow spiritually. And so I have these past, I would say the past year or so, I've been attending different services here in Sarasota. One is called the Center for Spiritual Living, and I've been filling my bucket with that. And then there's another place that we go called the Higher Realm. And both of these places talk and about our connection with the universe and source. And basically what it is they acknowledge that there's multiple paths to God, whatever God is for you. Okay. So God being the source of all. And there's multiple ways to get to that. It doesn't have to be Christian, Catholic, Lutheran, Jewish, whatever. I just can't stand the labels of it all. I
I
just
agree with you.
can't stand it. And I feel like it causes so much division because if we're all in agreement that there's something bigger than us out there that is a loving, kind energy, then why can't we all be in sync with each other about it? Why do we have to call it something different? It really bothers me. So, anyways, I've been doing a lot of I've been doing a deep dive into that and learning really how we talked about meditation. Um, I've learned an even better way for me to meditate, which is only 3 to 5 minutes a day. And it literally, I know
That
it's
could
so
be,
great.
that could speak my language.
Yes, and what it is, Sue, you're gonna like this even better because have a pencil, wait, or a
Where's your
pen.
fuzzy pencil? Okay, thank God. Phew.
Yeah, it's still here. A piece of paper. I put on the 528 frequency, which is the calming noise, only because my sig ot over there likes to have the TV on 24/7. So I have to block out that noise. And whatever comes into my mind, I write down, whatever it
Okay.
is. You just write it down, whether you think you're saying it to yourself, or maybe it's a message that's coming through to you, or whatever. 3 minutes, that's it. And the more you do that, the more you're going to start to be aware of a consciousness around you. Okay. So again, you don't have to quiet your mind. It's actually an active meditation. So you're doing something and then put it in a journal or whatever. And then you can look back and say, oh, that's what that message was, or whatever it is. And if you have something specific that you want to know about, you can also ask that for an answer
So
to.
what do you do with the things that you wrote down? Do you just sort of leave them there when the meditation is over, and then do you keep them in your mind
So when I'm
throughout the
writing,
day or till the next time you meditate?
like my eyes are closed, so I'm really just scribbling on a piece of
Hmm.
paper as quickly as things come to me. And then I write in my journal the day and then all of the things that I scribble on the paper. And a lot of them like don't really make sense to me right now. A lot of names
Hmm.
to me. And
Like people's names or
yes,
like places?
people's names. So
Interesting.
like today, all right, how weird was like today was a couple names that I had. Karen, Natalie, who is my spiritual counselor. So I knew that, who she was. And then somebody named Samson. I don't know.
Samson and Goliath.
I
That's a
know. I thought
story.
of that when and then another one yesterday, I had a whole bunch. Mary, Kyle, Susan, Leon, B, like for Beatrice, Amanda, Lioness, and Katia. So you were in yesterday's, I don't know, but so and then it's just gonna sit there until I know that whatever those messages are meant to be are going to come through to me. So, if I suddenly get introduced to somebody named Samson, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, that's why, and so it's just like being aware and alert because we go through life, I feel like so rushed all the time to do the
All the time.
next thing, check off that next box, get through the next thing. And we don't take the time to really take in what is being given to us, what is being asked of us. And if you just sit for a minute and you're going to get so many signs, and it's going to be like, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing here on earth, not the hustle and bustle. It's
Yeah.
to take it in and be grateful that we're here.
So
So
I have always tried to be super, especially when my kids were little, I tried to be super present all the time. But I went through this period of time where I think I got into like three or four fender benders, like within a short period of time because I was rushing and not paying attention. I mean, nobody got hurt or anything, but I was just like, okay, what's going on? And then probably I hit like around 50 and you kind of know that your life is pretty much half over. The chances of you living a really strong existence till you're 100 is pretty slim.
yeah.
I'm thinking this juice is going to maybe add a couple of years to my life, but who
I don't know.
knows?
Are you interested in living to 100? I feel like
If I have all my faculties and I can still get around by myself, absolutely. Why not?
I
Why
just
not?
feel like I would just have really bad skin and
Oh, yeah. I mean,
breath
yeah.
and all that. Like I don't know. I don't know if I want to live that long.
But I hit like 50. I'm like, okay, it's more than half over. A lot of my quote unquote obligations as a parent were, I mean, obligations in the sense like, raising my children, educating them. I think I was like 51 when my youngest graduated from college. So I was young. And then, something came to me, and I don't know if I read it somewhere or I heard it in a yoga class or something. And it's like, what, like the person like, what are you rushing to? Like, are
Mhm.
you trying, like, because really the finish line is dying. Like,
Yeah,
so
you're
why are you racing to the finish line? Like, who wants to be the first one dead?
yeah. Well,
So,
so I can tell you that I would rush through my day, want everything done, dinner cooked. This is when Hunter was home, you know, and dishes done. The rush that I had in me was so I could get in my pajamas and watch TV and then go to bed. Like I loved that time of day when I was like, oh,
yeah,
the day's over. I did all the things the best I can. And now I just want to get into my jammies. But
yeah.
but see, the thing is like, so we're rushing to meet all the goals, maybe financial goals and all of that other stuff. Um, but we're not taking time to just really be on this universe the way we're supposed to be.
Well, and that's truly where the richness of life
That's
exists.
right.
When you slow down, you become much more intentional with your life and your relationships, and you become much more purposeful and intentional. But so do you think so your spiritual journey, do you think this is would you classify it as like a reinvention of yourself, or would you say it's just pulling out the things in you that are already there, but you never tapped into them? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a little bit of both. I
Mm-hmm.
think that all of this was already there, but I haven't paid it. I haven't been present enough for it to really grow. But in order for me to really, really focus on my spiritual growth, you have to let go of some stuff. You have to let go of some behaviors or some thought processes because they no longer serve you when you're in this space trying to really only focus on serenity, light, love, all of that. You gotta really get rid of anything that's holding you back, holding you down, behaviors. Like for instance, I've learned over the years that the only thing I have control of in my life is the way I react to a situation.
Amen.
That's it. Because
Amen.
and I have to really continue to put things in perspective. Like before I react to it, I have to say to myself, okay, in the big picture of my life and of those around me, is this something that is worth that energy of the anger and the whatever? And sometimes it is. Sometimes I'm like, yeah,
Agreed.
makes me really mad. This pisses me off, and I am not going to hold this inside. So I'm going to get it out. So, but other times it's like, no, it's only going to be hurting me. And so you have to really start to reinvent the way that you think about things, the way you react to them. And so, yeah, I feel like it's reinventing myself. I am reprogramming my thoughts and behavior.
Yes. I love that. I love it's a reprogram, not a reinvention, because you are, we spoke last week about, you are perfect the way you are. There's no need to be anybody other than who you are, but now your spiritual journey is giving you space to be awake, to then
Right.
say, I need to reprogram these things. So, before we hopped on, I was sharing with you that I do see a therapist every couple of weeks. And, it's the new year. So we kind of set goals. And my goals are very similar to yours in the sense that I want to be able to react to things without, number one, it being outcome based. Like I want to be able to say something, express my feelings without an expectation of an outcome. Because what I needed to learn is there are lots of things in my life that will not have resolution, that will not have closure, which is such an overused word, um, and that will just sort of sit there and be. And I have to be okay with that. I can't resolve everything. Not everything is a problem to fix. And number one, and number two is what we spoke about last week was being able to just say no without having to attach the next five sentences of excuse of explanation of why you have chosen or cannot do a certain ask. And I think the big one for me is what people say about me, what people think about me, what is said behind my back or even to my face. Number one does not ever need, it's a reaction is not required. And if I don't hear it, it's none of my business.
Mm. That's that's a hard one for me to wrap my head
It's a
around.
hard one. It's a hard one, but I do love that phrase reprogramming because I am reprogramming the way I react and the way I move about my
Yeah.
life for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, that's so good. We have to, if you think about and we're going to use the word programming of, our DNA from the time we were born into the family that we grew up with, the circumstances, the environment, whatever it is, all of that set that programming within us. So if
Correct.
we're around people who are reactive or who are submissive, whatever, that's how we learn to be who we
Hmm.
are by the people, that we're around growing up. But that doesn't mean that you cannot hit that reset button anytime.
Agreed.
And
Agreed. Like you don't have to be, and even if you reprogram now, 6 months, years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, you can reprogram again.
I mean, I'm reprogramming, and I am taking in all of the things that I have learned in the last 2 years and really practicing it, putting it, I'm living it. And it's not like a snap of the fingers by any means, because I had to get rid of a lot of old thoughts and behaviors and ideas, and feeling like if my feelings were trampled on, that I'd have to step up to every fight. And I've realized more than anything during this process that the person that's coming at you, whether it's a stranger or it's the person closest to you, that's coming from somewhere inside of them that they're dealing
Mm.
with shit. Because there's just it really
Yeah.
ends up having nothing to do with you. Um, but I will say that whole thing about And we say this in the fellowship of AA and NA too, like, what people think of you is none of your business. And you're like, but it's me. They're talking about me. I am my business. But what that means is that you're never going to be able to change somebody's feeling about any particular thing. So, and you can look at politics these days. Like it's so divided and nobody can understand why the other person sees things that the way they do. Well, that's just
Hmm.
because they're whatever's going on in their head is reality.
Right.
So, and you're not going to change that. And that's okay. You live and let live, and just understand that you know who you are and you know what's in your heart. And if they don't see that or feel that, then that's on them.
And to kind of piggyback on that, in my yoga training and in my therapy, which go hand in hand, frankly, when you react like that, or when you give attention to what other people think about you, you're giving part of your power away.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving some of your power away, which is, at least I know for women, um, is a commodity that you don't want to give parts of it away.
Well, and the other thing is, we only have so much energy inside of us that we can
Hmm.
share with somebody. Do you want to share your energy with somebody who's going to just suck it out of you in a negative way?
Right.
Not. I want to surround myself with people who are going to infuse me with positive,
Hmm.
with kindness, with love, with light.
Right.
And so if somebody is talking bad about me or whatever, that's dark and negative. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want to share it. I don't want to attach to that. It's like we're all little molecules and we decide which ones we
Right.
do. I don't,
Exactly. And, you know, I think like I said, reprogram is the best word to use
yeah,
instead of reinventing.
yeah,
Uh,
we're gonna go with that. We're reprogramming every day.
Do you find that, let's say, the reprogramming you did earlier in your addiction is different than what you're doing now?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the reprogramming that I did when I was first clean and sober was literally just chemically in my brain.
Hmm.
It was all about creating dopamine, because all those pills that was just a synthetic dopamine. So my body stopped creating it. So when you stop taking that, I felt every little ping and ping and all of that. So yeah, that was, and then when you start to feel physically better, you're reprogramming your mind, to
Right.
use
Right.
other mechanisms to do. Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I look back and I think, yeah, how much I reprogrammed during this last 20 years. And then
Yeah. Huh.
still am. It's like, you're still hit with challenges. We live in a world with other people. So
Yeah, exactly.
we're gonna
Exactly.
have to reprogram a lot. But
And here's the other thing that I have learned. It's not a straight line.
oh God, no.
So I will be going, feeling really good about, how I'm reacting and how I am presenting and how I'm, you know, showing up. And then something happens and I revert right back to that coming out swinging, anger, don't you dare, you're not allowed. Um, and so I guess the thing that I was, in my sort of plan with my therapist is to have fewer and fewer of those, like have them be farther apart, and be surprised by a reaction like that rather than be surprised about, a positive
Mhm.
situation, a positive reaction. Um,
So in
and
oh, I'm sorry, continue.
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so in the fellowship, in recovery, one of our steps is to identify our character defects, is what you were talking about. Like we all have
Hmm.
defects that we fall back on, and they're just to protect us. They're
Oh,
just to,
yes.
you know,
And they
uh,
could have been there for decades. Most
absolutely.
likely they are.
One of the biggest ones that we all struggle with is our ego. Ego is
Yes.
going to get us in trouble every single time because we feel like, we have to stand up for ourselves or whatever. It's all about.
Yes.
So, but what we do is we make those lists of our character defects, whether it's
Hmm.
controlling or stubborn or whatever. And we learn to, when we feel that coming on, we have we have another solution on the other side,
Hmm.
right? So when we feel that our ego is getting too much, we ask ourselves to become humble to something. And
That's right.
it- so it is a reprogramming for sure. And that sounds like what you're doing too, is like
Right.
recognizing, okay, I'm getting triggered. I'm going to start to grab
Correct.
my guns and, and so then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I feel that trigger coming. Instead of attacking, I'm going to say to myself, this is on them.
Correct. That's a huge one for me is turning, not having to own it all, not having to absorb it and own it. It can come in and it can go out and is at the same speed.
That's right. And just because you didn't show up for the fight doesn't mean that you're giving them power. It
That
means,
was the hard one for me, is if I don't engage in the fight or stand up for myself or egotistically give my 2 cents back, in my mind, I convinced myself that they won.
yeah. And that's your
And
ego.
yes,
And
so
your ego
that is part of my reprogramming. My triggers are not feeling being unheard and not feeling seen.
Mm,
And so when somebody says something to me, the way that I tell them I'm here is to
mhm.
yell back.
Yeah.
And you know what? They don't give a crap. They do not give a flying crap if I am there.
They don't, and they're
So
not exactly that. So you walk away and don't let anybody steal your serenity. You're in the bubble of serenity.
agreed.
And if somebody's trying to get in there, you just walk away. And it
Hmm.
leaves them reeling with their thoughts, like, oh, well,
Right.
she didn't even da, 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 da," and then it sits with them and you can let go of it. It's not easy to do. I
It's
mean,
so not. And that's why I said, it's definitely not linear. Like you're down going down a path and then all of a sudden,
yeah.
right turn or a switchback or whatever you want to call it. And you're like, fuck,
Oh,
thought I
absolutely.
had this. And then, but you don't. I mean, it's just a process. I mean, we've discussed this a few times that it's just a process. Life is a process,
Yes, it is.
and
Absolutely.
reprogramming is a process.
Yeah. And learning and growth. I mean, there's a reason why, we go through 12 years of school, before we go to college. Um, because we can't learn everything at once. We got to
Yeah,
put those building blocks together and start here and then work our way up. So,
that's a great analogy. That's great. Great
yeah.
analogy.
Um, yeah. So, I mean, for all of our listeners, we're I hope that what you hear is by kind of understanding that if you're struggling with something, it you can reprogram your thoughts on it, and it's going to bring you so much more peace and serenity in your life. You're just going to be like, you do you, I'm doing me, and I'm doing what is going to make me feel good,
Yeah,
and
and to add on to that is find what speaks to you. So your two the two places that you enjoy um down where you are, spoke to you, like spoke your language. My language, is always been my yoga practice, the type of practice that I do. Some people, get, can read a book and follow, some guidance from a book, or, a therapist, or whatever speaks to you. And it doesn't have to be the same thing either. So what I discuss, it's interesting because when I have therapy and I go to yoga a couple of times a week, it's like it almost lines up.
Mm,
Like I'll say something, like I will say something, or, I'll talk to my therapist at something, and the next time I go to yoga class, like my teacher's talking about it.
yeah.
Something, the same concept, which
That's a
to
sign.
me
That's what I
is
was telling you
the
about.
universe saying, okay, like if you didn't get it all on Tuesday, here it is on Saturday. But yeah, so we would also love to hear from everybody. We have an email. It's rewind and reflect with us at gmail.com. The and is spelled out. Like the show, share the show, subscribe. You can leave comments on YouTube. And we also are on several other platforms. I did find us on Spotify. I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, there we are. And what other ones does Buzzsprout get us to?
You asked me this last time and I
I
still
know.
can't write it down.
Amazon Music.
Yeah, not I heard yet. They're reviewing everything. I think they're just
Okay.
making sure that we're kind of consistent. But most people get Amazon or Spotify.
Yes.
And of course YouTube, but we're uploaded to all of those. So,
Yes.
but we need some feedback. Would love to hear some. And
Yeah, and share your stories. We'd love to have people on, especially, people who have helped us along the way, people who were in our lives, if you're experiencing some of the same things that Deb and I talk about, or experts.
yeah,
I know that you have surrounded yourself. I would love to get a couple of yoga people on here at some point. Um, and I know that you surround yourself with a lot of expert people who have wonderful, wonderful insight.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So, yeah, so that's good. So that's it.
Yeah,
And I just want to say thank you to everybody for listening. And we hope to hear from you. And
yeah.
namaste, friends.
Namaste, girl. Love you. We'll talk next week.
All right, sounds good. Bye.
Bye.